Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first high vibrational living, getting through the holidays meeting slash webinar here. I want to thank you very much for coming here tonight. It's a great honor that you recognize this space as a place where you can talk about the things that have been going on throughout the day. We will be talking about collective energies that are occurring at this very moment and how this affects our life. There are some questions that were sent in up front, and you also have the possibility to ask live questions here at any time. You can either type them or raise your hand to speak with the microphone. The objective of our daily show, the 12 days of Christmas here until the 1st of January, is to just find a place where we can talk about the crazy things that are going on during the holidays. So welcome, everybody. My name is Yona Brindis, and with me is Roger Schwartz. Roger,
hi, everyone.
hello. All right, just a very quick checkup here. Oh, can you hear us?
I can hear you very well.
Okay. If you can use the text box to let us know, wonderful. All right, so we got the right settings and we got everything here, so wonderful. So why do we do this? So in the past years, we've done 24-hour hotlines throughout the holidays. We've done free sessions. I can't even remember all different kinds of media we use to be there for people going through some of the stress and the craze during the holidays, and knowing that for energetically sensitive people that this is a very challenging time. We thought this year we try something different, and by just having a live show, so if people have things they want to share or ask questions, then this is the place where you can come and talk about it. Every day Roger and I will give a little bit of an introduction into the energies of the day, and at the end of our show, we will channel the energies for 2017 together, all of us. And this may this may feel a little weird at first, because if you don't know what channeling means, well, I'm not going to explain what channeling means because I'm not really using channeling or any of these techniques. Really, all we're going to do is we're going to connect our energies and tap into the field that can be accessed through remote energy work. And we're going to focus on 1 month of the new year each day. So today we're going to be focusing on January. And it's much simpler than you think it is. And I'm extremely excited about this. I can't wait to come up with a forecast for 2017 based on our group channeling here. So that's a very exciting part for me personally.
The last time you did that, Yona, we did as a group. Well, you sort of did it on the side, but we were as a group was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
In remote prayers, and we used those resonances for the next year to do invocations, and it was really cool.
Yes, we're going to use, because this is a public session, so those are not, you as an audience are not necessarily trained. Now, when I look at the number of participants, I see a lot of people who have quite a bit of experience with energy work, so it won't be a problem at all. But those of you who don't have experience with energy work, don't think that there's pressure or anything. This is a lot easier than you think it is. We'll use a very simple centering technique and just sort of blurt out what comes up for us. And typically what happens is that there's a theme that displays itself. And Roger and I are both trained in this, so we will be able to help with the transcoding a bit. So all this is going to happen live, so I'm very excited about this. We don't really have a program for each session, as in like a big presentation or anything like this. I have some slides, Here is the intro slide. This is me, Jona Brintis, and this is a picture of Roger. And Roger also has his own website called recoveryourheart.com. So please feel free. This will be soon available. The objective of this webinar meeting is to ask personal questions. This is really the emphasis. So we want to go where you want to go. And in this way, we can adjust to the most recent and current collective or personal energies. Of course, the overall idea is also to increase our awareness. So we're going to talk about certain subjects every day. And I've picked the 12 principles of high vibrational living as a basic guideline. You know, so every day is going to have a different theme, but they're all going to end up basically leading us to what is high vibrational living. What does that even mean to align my energies to higher vibrations, and is it really higher? Questions like this. So there's an energetic view that's behind all that, and so we'll be talking about that every day, just a little bit to get started, to warm up, to break the ice, and then I would love if you just send in your questions or share on the microphone, because this is really what the show here is for. So if you need support, let us know. If you feel like you're dealing with things that you can't deal with on your own, please share. This is what we're here for.
And some of these webinars they turn into a real nice experience. More people open up and we get conversation going back and forth.
Yeah, so often it's a little bit of a day form, you know, whether somebody's breaking the ice and actually speaking into the microphone, and then others can follow. But every day will be different. Now, today is the day of the summer solstice here, or winter solstice, excuse me. We're right in the middle of it. The energies are still building. The peak of it will be tonight. And so there is a momentum that comes in with the winter solstice that is not just sensible, or that cannot be just be perceived by energetically sensitive people and empaths, like most of you are. And I want to talk just a little bit about that, what that means, because this is here amongst empaths probably the more important event than Christmas per se. So today is the shortest day, the longest night here in the Northern Hemisphere, which means that it also has a tendency to pull people into a place where they feel the darkness within. And so the winter solstice traditionally was the celebration or the ritual or the tradition of letting go of old energies and inviting new energies, because starting with tomorrow, the days are going to get longer again. And so from an energetic standpoint, it is sort of the beginning of a new sun cycle, the beginning of the rebirth of the sun, the rebirth of the light. And so it comes that most of our most sacred holidays are kind of like around this time of the year, and they get interpreted, of course, in different ways depending on the tradition, on the religion that our society belongs to. But from the most sort of fundamental point of view, it's really the rebirth of the sunlight that is being celebrated here at these last December days. Now, there are some overall planetary, celestial, and collective influences that come in at this time of the year, and I don't need to tell you, at least in the Western societies where Christmas is sort of a big event, family event, sometimes also in business, of course, but where there's a lot of preparation going on, there's a lot of consumerism going on, a lot of craze, if you will. And so there's a sociological effect also during the holiday time here at the end of December. And through that, often quite a few psychological or emotional issues that people go through. And this is the reason why we always try to offer something in these days, because especially for energetically sensitive people, but also for anyone who feels like he's going or she's going through crises, or there's things are in transition in their lives. This is a very vulnerable time, because it seems like everybody's so happy and everybody's so cozy with their families. And if we are not in that position, then it can make us feel like we're kind of rejected or a bit on the outs. And so people often tend to get a little lower in their energy. So here comes a very good question, and thank you very much for asking this. How do the energies differ for those of us in the southern hemisphere with the summer solstice? So in the summer, in the southern hemisphere, you have the longest day of the year right now, and for you, in the new sort of energy that begins now is that the days are going to get shorter again. So obviously that's kind of like the opposite position here on the scale. But what both solstices have in common is that they signify a huge shift, a huge momentum, if you will. And typically, from a metaphysical standpoint, the summer solstice is associated with masculine energies. So masculine energies coming in into the collective energetic soup, if you will, and the winter solstice is associated with feminine energies. And so in that respect, there is a slightly different a feeling to this time for you right now. You still have Christmas or some of these year-end occurrences like taxes and things like that in the southern hemisphere. So these collective and social influences are the same for you. But as far as like the deeper energetic aspects is concerned, there's a different emphasis. So this leads me then to what is going on right now energetically. And as some of you know, we have actually a remote energy event going on right now, which is a 24-hour event aligning to winter solstice energies. And what these show here for us in the northern hemisphere is that right now there is it's almost like a struggle, but it's not a fight. It is a sort of last letting go of unresolved issues, of unresolved or not yet reconciled conflicts with masculinity going on. This has been going on for the last 24 hours, and for those of us in this event, it has triggered quite a few deeper inner things that mostly related to our inner child in regards to father energies, the father principle. And the father principle is not just our father. It can be our forefathers, which of course also includes our female ancestors. But it can also mean our alignment to masculine energies altogether, to the masculine part of our energy, to how we see men, how we see what it means to be a man, what it means to be a father, what it means to be a woman who embraces masculinity in her life. So the emphasis as of right now is on masculine energies, to release unresolved things. And the reason for that is that the incoming feminine energies through the winter solstice need to find a fertile ground. They need to find good conditions within us if they want to lead us, say, to a prosperous upcoming 6 months. And as you can imagine, embracing feminine energies can only happen when there is an inner balance there. So it's not like that they weren't there. We always have masculine and feminine energies in us. But they gain more power now. And if there are aspects in regards to masculine energies within us that are not beneficial for feminine energies coming in, and I'll make a few practical examples here in a few seconds, then the power that can come in through the feminine now joining in with the masculine as the unified solar principle, as I call it, cannot really proceed, cannot really happen with us. And if it cannot really happen with us, it means that we will probably going to feel this inner conflict, this inner struggle between the masculine and feminine energies for the next 6 months. So this is all based on self-healing and allowing those energies in. Do we have anyone in this session here today who is actually in the ongoing transmission, in the ongoing... Yes, it looks like it because I'm getting comments here. Yes, okay, quite a few people. Is anyone there who would like to share how this is feeling like? Someone shared here, I saw a dragon circling yours. Yes, and the dragon, the dragon typically stands for unresolved issues, for our inner conflicts, our inner demons, if you will. Anything often symbolized through this really sort of powerful emotional up and down. The roller coaster, that's the dragon in us. That's what the dragon often symbolizes. Yes, okay, so a lot of people feel quite peaceful. And we have a forum here at transCODES where people can share on an ongoing level, not just during transmissions or after transmissions, but also discussing current collective energies. So an example of what I just talked about in regards to how do masculine and feminine energies, how do they sort of manifest in our practical lives, in our day-to-day lives, in our world. And there are things that we can observe, like, say, in the political arena, in certain sociological events around the world. So obviously there is an overall emancipation going on over the last 50 years, which means, sort of the goal to really integrate femininity as an equal and liberated part together with masculinity, but we still have a little work to do there. And so there are occurrences in our political events, for instance, that show quite clearly how there still is a struggle with that. So currently, in the US, for instance, femininity has gotten quite a little bit of a damper, and masculinity has taken over again a little bit. And masculine energies are represented through positive aspects like protection, direction, getting things done, achieving things. But these aspects can also take on negative aspects, which would be competition, which would be war, would be suppression, oppression. domination and so forth. And so there's a current tendency, a new tendency again, to suppress femininity here in the U.S. Sorry, and this is also showing in other countries, even though we have more female leaders nowadays than we ever had. So this would be an example of how these collective struggles or conflicts translate into our daily lives. All right, and there's of course more examples there, and the deeper we go, the closer we get to our own lives. We'll see, okay, here are some aspects, for instance, looking at feminine energies, which are represented through softness, through allowing, through creativity, intuition, that want to come in, but what is holding me back? There's something holding me back to really trust in that. And so this is the level on which we can feel how inner masculine and feminine energies sometimes struggle with another.
Yona, I'd like to share a little bit of my own experience last night during the Grace session.
Please.
Okay. I shortly after the session started, I set the intent to bring all parts of myself back together, and an aspect of me came in from the left. Just walked in, and I felt right away sadness and all, and a sense of failure, that it wasn't good enough. And what it did, it came in and it sat like outside of the group, outside of life was the feeling I got. It was sad that I couldn't participate in life, to exchange with others, interact with others, but it was resolved. It's like it had accepted that fact. So there was an inability to express because of the way that part of me feels, to interact with others and all, particularly the feminine. So I think that's somewhat related there, because the expression would be lacking, right?
So what you're saying is that the way you felt this translated within your personal experience here within the last 24 hours or since the transmission is that you recognize that there are some parts in you, like the feminine parts, the feminine energies, that they're not coming to full expression right now, that there's something there? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's probably related to the father never feeling good enough, never meeting up to my father's expectations at all. That's a part of me that I've acted out, lived on clearly for years. A lot of that's resolved, but I was surprised that some of it was still remaining.
It's interesting, isn't it, Roger?
Yes.
How we think about, like it's about feminine energies, and yet you find out that there's actually a link with something that's a completely different area that never really seem to be connected, and yet they are very connected. So if you hear this for the first time working with masculine and feminine energies, don't feel overwhelmed. Those are all parts we all have in us, and of course if you're a male, you will have a stronger connection to masculine energies. That's normal because it's your prime source of energy, and if you're female, you'll naturally feel a stronger connection to feminine energies. However, and we all know this, I know this as a woman who has always tried to succeed in male domains, just because I'm a woman doesn't necessarily mean that I'm in contact or in connection with all my feminine energies. Not at all. As a matter of fact, as an energy worker, and as a woman myself, I can tell you that allowing feminine energies to come to expression, like you just said, Roger, is a very difficult thing for a lot of women, especially if we have higher goals, if we want to be emancipated, if we want to succeed in a world that is still slightly dominated through masculine energies. And I can only imagine what it's like for a male to allow feminine energies in. Because one of the biggest sort of fears or misconceptions we have with feminine energies and masculine energies is that we feel that being soft, being nurturing, being open and trusting and creative, not so structured, not so controlled, that this is a weakness, that this is a softness.
And yeah, that's part of what came in last night. It's showing that if the male is still wounded, that's not going to be allowed out, because the male's got to be secure in order to be okay with expression of those energies.
So what we learned here, or what we are learning today, regardless of some other collective energies that are now building, which we're going to talk about here in a few seconds, is that we cannot neglect, we cannot deny, we cannot leave out one without sort of taking away a little bit from the other. And when it comes to masculine and feminine energies, our soft side and our strong side, if you will, our left and our right, then it is imperative for us to understand that if we, like say, already have that inner guidance to connect more with feminine energies, then we cannot bypass things that are not yet resolved with masculine energies. If we still have, like say, unresolved or hidden disdain towards the other gender, say, because we've had really painful or negative experiences, say, with, I'm saying this as a woman now, with men, and there's a deep sort of rooted disdain in me towards masculinity, that I feel like I can't trust man, I can't trust masculine energies because they get too dominating, they can hurt me, they can give me the feeling that I'm not worthy. Or as a man, you know, whenever I show softness, that, you know, I'm being taken advantage of, or things of that sort, then we cannot really embrace our own prime source of energy yet. When it comes to the end of the year energies and embracing the new year and embracing sort of the shift that is going on right now, it means that we have to work from inside out first. We have to work on our inner balance first. If we want to manifest higher vibrational goals, then we need to really go within and see, where do I have inner resistances, inner disharmonies. And this has nothing to do with gender. So people get all confused about gender. We can have disdain towards the other gender. That's very common. And because part of that is also rooted in our societies, you know, in jokes and movies and songs and so forth. But for the most part, when we are aligned to higher vibrational goals, it means that we have to transcend all these things. We have to transcend our gender, our past experience, our sort of opinion we have about masculine and feminine energies. And so right now, this is one of our tasks, is to resolve issues with the masculine, the father principle in us. On a larger level, on the collective level, which is also influenced by planetary and celestial electromagnetic, if you will, factors, what influences us there now is the overall incoming sort of transition. And when I say transition, I'm not really talking about the new year. See, the new year is really just something that is anchored in our psychology. I mean, you know, the calendar was invented at some point. 1500s, I think, if I remember this right. And so the 1st of January being just a date, really. And nature doesn't really go into the new year energies until March. um, pretty much when we celebrate spring. This is when when our planet, so to speak, goes into a new year. But what's coming in right now, and here, and we can feel this today, it was very, very strong. There's an agitation going on. There's a direct, sort of, almost like a chaotic type of energy coming in. It's making things go less smooth. And people can feel this. You don't have to be energetically sensitive. Everybody's reacting to it in form of agitation, in form of sort of rudeness, maybe even, and trying to really sort of control the situation more. And that leads to a really sort of strong inner conflict. And I think this is why we were asked now to really look and reflect, back on this year and to see, okay, what are these conflicts that I can recognize as patterns, especially, that were coming forward this year. What are the unclosed, the cold cases here in my life? All right, because those are the ones that create these inner conflicts, these inner dissonances in us. So going into the follow-up here, to like, okay, if I remember last year around this time and the new year was starting to come in, what were my hopes, what were my dreams, what were my goals? And where am I compared or in relation to those? Did I really move forward this year? If not, what is in the way, or what was in the way? And what can still be corrected? Where can I still make course corrections? Because this is the time where we can still make course corrections. So where can I...
Excuse me. It's very important also to not beat ourselves up about it, I think, at this point. But
Right.
everything personally has been amplified in the last several days. All the my own personal energy drains, procrastinated list of things to do, unspoken truths, concerns about the future, and it's a constant need to pull back into the moment and center up and then feel out which things are coming in, pay attention to them, make some lists possibly, clarify things.
Yeah, so we're not really at the peak yet. So here we are in these next couple of days where we can still do something about that by looking at our patterns, by looking at what are the things that I can see, what can I see repeats in my life. And I love it what you just said, Roger, not beating ourselves up is, of course, the number one thing that we need to bear in mind, that there is no outer expectation. There is no nothing really that we need to conform to other than our inner integrity. So when we want to make course corrections, that can also include correcting our goals. This is what I'm seeing right now a lot, is that people need to correct the expectations and need to correct the goals that they're setting for their lives.
More aligning to your truth, yes.
Yeah,
I'm going through that myself, a reset to clarify within, feel out where I really intended to head, say, a year ago, and where I'm at now, and is it still true to me?
And that's a really, really important process, Roger. Thank you. Is this still true to me? Because, sometimes we have these goals that we think are going to make us happy, and then we work towards them, and then things happen and so forth, and then we find out, well, maybe that isn't really what is making me happy. So
sometimes our motivation, yeah. A year or two ago, my motivation, maybe there was more ego involved or something, or less.
Exactly. So this is a good time now, while in the midst of the beginning craze here, to take a time out and say, okay, hang on. Where am I? Where do I truly want to be? Does this line up with where my mind is going, where my opinion is going, where my mental goals sort of going. Because sometimes we've already shifted that within, and yet on the outside we're still following the old paradigm. We're still following sort of the old structures.
We need to take a break and let everything catch up, right?
Exactly. And to not judge anything that's coming forward. And here is something that I've shared quite a few times. The number one mistake that we all do is trying to find low vibratory solutions for high vibratory problems. What does that mean? A high vibratory problem or high vibratory goal is something that is aligned to, well, a higher energy than we currently are. It's something that's supposed to bring us forward, right? It's something that's supposed to provide us with a solution for whatever we perceive as resistance or a struggle or a suffering at this very moment. And this can be anything, from recovering from a disease, recovering from an addictive pattern, changing or manifesting a relationship, learning better ways to deal with problems with children or with partners, with work, maybe changing our work and so forth. So they can all be higher vibratory goals, as long as they sort of are congruent with what we truly want to be or who we truly want to manifest.
So, for example, if I've been trying to force things and control situations to create something in my life or bring something into my life, it may be as simple as surrendering, which is something I've been getting a lot of practice with. It's almost like there's a steady need for it with all the energies flying around. Surrender and just allow, right? So I align to, say, feel out where I want to be and just surrender everything and stay with that energy, that feeling of what I'm looking for.
And that would be a high vibratory solution finding process. A low vibratory solution process would be getting angry, beating myself up, going into the fear of the future.
Fighting harder.
Fighting harder, needing more control. Those are lower vibratory skills, if you will. And many of you know the vibrational scale here that I like to use, where I show how lower vibratory energies, which are located here in this red zone on this scale from 0 to 10, here from 0 to 5, those would be lower vibratory or slower vibratory energetic states and emotion. And higher vibratory and expansive or faster vibratory energies would be here in this blue area between 6 and 10. And so literally most of our goals are very similar. We all want love. We want to be wealthy, or at least abundantly feel abundance in wealth and health and love. We want to be happy. And we don't want the feeling of lack. We don't want the feeling of a disease or anything like this. So the goals we have in life are higher vibratory goals. But when our energy gets stuck in places where our energy is contracted and where it vibrates much, much slower than the goal we have, well, you can imagine, do you think that has a lot of power to manifest that? No. So this is one of the biggest mistakes that people do, is like unconsciously getting stuck in these lower vibratory fields and not understanding why they can't manifest the things that they truly want. Others have the problem that they don't really know what they truly want. They're still yearning for being in more control of their lives. or being better at defending their lives and so forth. Those would be then leading to lower vibratory goals and very often to the feeling of being stuck in my life. All right, so either way, there's an incongruence here between what we want and how we try to get there. All right, and the solution out of this misconception or this, well, mistake, as I called it, is to, instead of trying to force it, instead of trying to doubt it, and instead of going against it and allowing this inner struggle, this inner resistance to grow, to focus on getting our energy into these faster vibratory states where our energy has a lot bigger power to manifest, where it naturally expands, where it basically logs into the divine field and gets support, gets universal support. In these red states here, in these lower vibratory states, when we're in specialness and pride and anger and fear and pain or guilt, we're stuck in our ego, and our ego is basically the part in us that works against the universe. All right? So if we can shift our attention towards building our higher vibrational fields within and holding those states, then we can move into much more efficient manifestation in our life.
I was going to mention externalization and internalization here. I think it's important because when we're down, especially down in the lower half there, if we're externalizing, we're expecting a lot of what we want out of life to come from outside of us. And what most of us are looking for, I believe, is a feeling. And if we shift our perspective to internal, we can create or allow that feeling that we're looking for inside of us. So it takes a lot of the pressure off. All these things that I think I need in my life, of course there are things I would like to experience, but a lot of the things I think I need are because of the feeling they will provide, and that can come from within me no matter where I am.
Yeah,
so
and that's a
important for me.
That's a really a great way of expressing that. That's exactly how I see the energies for today, for the 21st of December, is to listen to our inner guidance, to allow that to come forward, to allow ourselves to mature here in a way that we include our inner power that can actually help us with showing us the way, help us with making decisions, making choices. So that's from my perspective, the energy of today. And maybe also the reason why there is so much agitation building at this very moment, because many of us do not listen to their inner guidance. And it's not because it's not there, it's because we don't trust it yet. I don't know if you can read this here. Choices and energy. All choices affect our personal energy, but not just based on their outcome, but more importantly, based on the energy and inner alignment at the moment of making that choice. So if I'm making a choice, if I'm making a decision, say against my better knowing, against the inner guidance that is coming in, my intuition, my gut feeling that's coming in, how powerful do you think that choice is? It's probably not very powerful, and it's probably not very much aligned to what we truly want. It's not congruent. And so we've basically planted the seed for a future conflict, for a future struggle. From an energetic viewpoint, a healthy choice has a higher vibration than an unhealthy choice. So looking at it energetically, there really isn't any judgment in our choices, like as a mistake or a good decision or something like that. it really just comes down to, was this a congruent choice? And if it's congruent, and congruent means if it lines up with our goals, with who we truly are, then it becomes a healthy choice. So a healthy choice is something that supports us, something that supports our energy, something that is life supporting, life energy supporting. And that's one of the biggest issues we have in our daily lives, is that even though we all have the ability to feel that on a deep, deep level, we have so much overlay that we can't really hear that inner guidance. And if we do, we can't really trust it. And then we make one decision after another based on sort of inner incongruence, and create sort of future struggles, future problems, future conflicts within us. So in order to get to that place where we shift our attention, our focus to building our energy in these higher vibrational areas, all we really need to do is focus on, is this life sustaining, life supporting, energy supporting here, what I'm about to choose? Or is it not? Is it life draining? Is it energy depleting? This is our way. Like Roger said, this is our higher power. To feel if something is energy supporting or energy draining. And from an energetic standpoint, that is the definition of a good choice, of a healthy choice. So,
and most of us probably get clear guidance on many of those choices before we make it, even though we might ignore them.
sometimes that's not always the case, Roger. Some people really can't hear this inner voice. But again, if we shift our focus to really looking at the world, looking at everything that happens in our life, looking at the people that we socialize with, the jobs we do, and so forth, with that alignment, is this energy supporting? Is this life supporting, or is this energy draining? We are beginning to clear the way for that inner voice to become stronger and stronger and louder so that we can hear it better. So that the state of our personal energy is the sum of our choices. And with that, of course, the state of energy that we had in that moment. So here is my sort of very personal kind of, how I always seen that, is that what I manifest is the consequence of all the choices that I made in the past. All of them. Not just the supposedly good ones. All of my choices in the past. And the only thing that I need to do, really, I don't need to worry about making mistakes. All I need to worry about is this a choice that represents me, that represents my values, my integrity, my virtues? Is this congruent with me? Because if it is congruent with me, then it is healthy for me. And if it's healthy, that means it's energy supporting. And if something is energy supporting, that means my energy is automatically here, aligned here at these higher vibratory energy fields. And by focusing my energy on doing just that, and letting go of the things that are not needed if necessary, and having the courage to try new things and to embrace, I am shifting my entire life and all the manifestations in my life here today. Today. It may not show up in my life, like say, until next week or within 2017. But I have shifted something, and this is what we need to understand, is that the power to change, the power to manifest is in the now, right now. And it's determined by our alignment. If we align to our egos, to our minds, to our lower vibratory states that dominate our emotions, then our manifestations will reflect exactly that, and they will mostly be felt as life draining, which is what these red zones here, what these red energies are. They're lower or slower vibratory energies, and therefore they're life draining or energy draining, contracted. Yes, and I'm getting lots of comments here, you know, how this feels for other people, and that's correct. So it is the overlay on the one hand, you know, through our mind, through our emotion, that can pull us out of our higher vibratory alignment. But this is not important. There is a time and a place where it's good to find out what our patterns are so that we can get to know our ego better and that we can be more prepared. That this, you know, that this doesn't sort of catch us off guard. But the most important thing is to realize that we have the power to shift right now, in this moment. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. And so in this sense, since we're already coming to the end of the show, before we leave some space here for the live questions, I want to start channeling the energies for January 2017 with you. And what I'm about to show you here through this is something that you can apply at any moment in your life. You're shifting your perspective. You're shifting the way you're seeing things. And as you do that, you connect with your heart. And your heart is then the part in you that brings about conditions that make it easier for you to feel when something is energy supporting for you. When I say heart, I don't mean emotions, not just so you don't misunderstand me here. When I say trusting in your heart or going into your heart, I don't mean going into emotions. I mean to go in that part of you that is located in your center, the center of your center, that knows exactly who you are, where you can find your true self. And your true self is sort of like the messenger, the translator between your soul and your physical self here, the one that you look into the mirror to you, the one that you, the life that you're seeing in front of you. And so in order to align better to our inner guidance, all we need to do is know the path, is to know the pathway, how to get there, and then to begin to listen to it. And the more and more we can trust it, the more and more guidance we will become, we will get. All right, so what I want you to do right now is a very simple technique that most of you know this technique. You're working with transCODES, and we call this the I am breathing. It's a simple in and exhale breathing technique, very similar to the yoga breathing, but with an additional spin to it, which is we're clearing out excessive mental and emotional energies. And the way I want you to visualize that is pretty simple, actually. The first part of the breathing is to locate the center in you, to locate that heart center of yours. And you can already hear this in my voice. It has nothing to do with our physical heart. So it's really in the center of our energy body, very close to the heart, but not on the left or right, as some people have their heart on the right side, actually, but right in the middle, slightly above our sternum, in the chest area. So the first
Slightly
part,
forward of the spine, right?
yeah, it's like it's inside of us, so it's not on top. And this is something that can only be felt, it can barely be described. It's inside of us, it's in the center of our energy body, which means if you want to use the visualization of like a sphere around you as your energy body, then this would be the midpoint, the absolute midpoint of that sphere, um, uh, uh, from all directions, forward, backward, left and right, and all the other trajectories. So to breathe into that part of yours is the first part, and the second part is to exhale all the excess energies that you find, or that you can feel or intuit in your system. And in energy work, we can locate most of our excessive or excess mental energies in the upper half of our body, in the upper part, like above the heart center. And we can mostly identify excess emotional energies in the lower half of our body, which would be below our heart center. And so if you can follow me here, then try to feel it this way. As you inhale, you're pulling in all energies from above your heart into your heart, and all your energies from below your heart into your heart, kind of like an up and down arrow. As you breathe in, like a vacuum cleaner, pull this in. And as you breathe out, you are exhaling, you're breathing it out sideways, left and right, like as if you would stretch out your arms, left and right, into that plane all around you, and just sort of release it into this, what we call energetic vortex that exists there. And so showing breathing through audio is, of course, not very easy, because all you can hear is me breathing in and breathing out. But this is basically how this goes. I will sort of interpret this as I go. Breathing in, pulling in all excess emotional energies from the lower half of my energy body into my heart. Breathing out sideways for as long as I can. So exhaling as a clearing method is really something that you want to do slowly, and as you sort of feel these excess energies leaving you, you really want to give it sort of your last your last breath, that's releasing. And then as you breathe in again, you do the same thing with the lower the emotional energies in the lower half of your energy body below your sternum. Pull those in. Hold this for a second, and then breathe out sideways again and release it. And so the secret of this technique is to do both at the same time. So as you breathe in, you pull in all excess mental and emotional energies from above and below your heart center into your center, into the center of your center. Hold it there for a second. And then release it sideways as you exhale. Again, breathing in. Holding. Releasing. And I can actually feel that some of you are experiencing an expansion of your energy field there, of your heart center, and that this hurts a little bit. So if you feel like a little chest pain right now, or a pressure in your rib cage, don't be concerned. This is you expanding your heart center energetically through this I am breathing. And then you center, hold it there, and release. Just keep doing this now on your own for a few more seconds. And I will ask you now to feel yourself into the beginning of the new year, into 2017. Feel it. Feel January 2017. Smell it. Taste it. All the while you keep on breathing in that way. You can close your eyes if you will. I have my eyes closed right now. Feel the January energies. How do they feel to you? Are you seeing anything? Like a scene, like maybe a movie snippet, or are you hearing anything? Are you hearing the music? What are you seeing? Are you seeing any colors, maybe? Or any spirit guides or spirit animals that may come in for you? Maybe elements like water or fire. So how does January 2017 feel to you in adjectives or other kind of guidance? What do you see? Does anybody want to share?
I feel a path opening clearly in front of me as I walk.
Okay. So like an opening up,
Yes.
like an expansion maybe, or it was something that was
Just
closed
like the
before.
way is being cleared ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I see something very similar. It's very bright for me. So January, even though it's kind of like a dark month, at least here in Colorado, it feels very bright, very lots of light, lots of new sort of clarity. I'd say it feels very clear and crisp too. Okay,
That's
cleared
what there
head.
is
Yes,
in this path, yes.
we're getting lots of comments here now. A cleared head. The word clear came in. Yes. So there's a clarity there that is coming in. A cleared head.
There's also a feeling of being elevated above the darkness that you talk about.
So here is someone
The
who saw
lightness.
a row of eggs hatching, like
Oh,
something new evolving, something new emerging. Clear and exciting news. Yeah, new. That's interesting how we all have this sort of clarity type of feel to that. But clarity, doesn't always mean that it's beautiful. Clarity can also mean sometimes that we really have to see things the way they are, kind of like a reality check. This is what it feels like to me a little bit. And please keep sharing anything that comes in for you.
I have a large 5 uh,
Okay.
there also.
So for you, Roger, a number came in. And for
Yes.
those of you listeners who don't know this, we work with number codes here, transcodes, for energy work. So numbers can symbolize certain energetic processes. So the meaning of the number 5 here within the transcodes matrix is oneness. So to see things more clearly in regards to oneness. I keep getting in that it's probably going to be also a little shocking for things. So there's the clarity that we can all feel here does not feel like it's only in regards to like freedom or free, like, I feel so good. No, clarity can also mean kind of like seeing things more accurately, realizing the truth of things.
Things being exposed, the truth of them being shown.
Yes, I see that too.
So, okay.
So I do see for January quite a few things ahead of us still, at least for the first 2 weeks. So there's still things that are sort of rumbling, all right, that are still that still need to be processed. But there's more clarity coming in. Okay, here someone says, "No, I'm seeing the sun and starburst." I do too. This is exactly what I'm seeing too. So there's a burst of energy there, and it has to do with the sun. The sun is typically associated with masculine energies.
Humbling is coming in.
Yep. So there is a clarity that is coming in that can also expose reality, say. Create a little bit of a reality check in us. But the overall feeling is, though, that, like you said, Roger, that there's a path opening, that, or like Brian said here, that there's new things emerging. But it doesn't feel like it's all just sugarcoating. It's possible that we are beginning to see things more clearly in a way that may force us or may make us consider making new choices or different choices. So I'm seeing that aspect as well, that we feel like we have to reconsider our choices simply because we're seeing things more clearly now. And of course, there's a lot more to this, so we could go on here for hours trying to channel energies because we're going really deep here. But I think we all, independently from another, have gotten a little bit of a taste for January energies. Okay, so there's something new coming in.
Truth.
Most likely related to truth and reality and clarity. But it's also a bit, maybe a bit like with a wham, you know, like with the burst. Yes, and that may actually influence our choices. So, or in form of reconsidering, in form of reflecting on our choices, and maybe doing course correction. So I do actually see that for January. All right, so we have our first month, and wow, I mean, I can't believe, you know, how everyone is like seeing the same thing. It's amazing.
You're getting a lot of feedback, Yona?
Yes, it's amazing. You should be able to see that too, Roger.
I cannot know.
Okay, so yes, so this is really cool, and for me, a wonderful example, and also confirmation that people who have absolutely no experience with energy work, or who are not doing this for a living, who are not clairvoyants or whatever, who are you probably all are energetically sensitive. You know, otherwise you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't feel attracted to what we're doing here, and it wouldn't resonate with you. But that people who are not really sort of specialized on doing something like that, within a few minutes here, can come up with very similar results. Now, of course, we're not using a scientific method, and we will never do this, because this is a subjective experience. And part of why we were doing this here was also to learn to trust in our inner guidance and to open that up. Yes, because it's always there. Exactly, to open up for our emotional guidance system. And then it does kick in. That's correct. I'm kind of mouthing out the comments that are coming in here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been one of my greatest challenges over the years is to trust what comes and not get the mind involved right away and start criticizing or judging. And it's amazing, actually, when you allow things and trust what comes, how it expands.
There's a trick there, and we can talk about this tomorrow, like how to filter out the mind. All right.
Cool.
But there's the over the thumb rule, and that is if you sort of ponder on a thought for more than like 2-3 seconds, chances are that you're already caught in your mind, in your thinkingness. So if you want guidance from your heart, if you want guidance from your higher power, if you will, learn to be spontaneous when it comes to these kind of things. So when we channel the energies for February tomorrow, just go for it, man. Just write it, or be online here with a mic, with an open mic, and just say out loud what comes in. There's no reason to filter it. Chances are that if you allow it to be filtered through your mind, that it either becomes distorted or only half the thing, or that it's biased through your ego. Yeah, so someone keeps getting a porcupine for January, and it looks cute and friendly, but it has a spiky body. Well, this could be interesting, how this plays out here in regards to truth, clarity coming in, and this opening up, freeing up of new pathways, and possibly making new choices. They may, be really good for us, but maybe a little bit spiky in the beginning. We'll see. But what you guys just proven to yourself here is that if you tune into this, we did this like superficially, and yet we got some really cool info already.
See, the choices don't really matter because there's learning in either way you go all the time.
Yes. And so it's really not about what we don't want. It's about focusing on what we want. Not so much the wantingness of our ego, but more so where we want to be. But the channeling, when we do this, it's really an exercise in bypassing our mind and our emotion, and allowing that to go in the background and to bring our guidance, our inner guidance, our intuition forward. And you can all do this. So we're coming to the end of the show here. Roger, we need to ask some questions still. If we're over time already, but if you have some closing words that you want to say, just summarizing for today's meeting and with the comments and everything. And if you have any questions, think about it while Roger just sort of summarizes our session here. If there's any question that you have, and if it's not related to how to bypass the mind, because tomorrow we're going to talk about that one, then please go ahead and ask. Roger, would you like to just sort of give us some closing words here, because we have to end the show now. It's already hour's already gone.
Well, I'm not much of a closer. I'd just like to mention it would be cool if we could open up for a little while tomorrow. I really enjoy hearing other voices come in.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's important now, if you get distracted, try and step back into the moment. I do that constantly. Come back to the moment, find a peace, if you can find some peace in your heart, and just watch what comes in and don't judge it all and let it flow through as best you can. But it's a really good time to learn about what drains your energy down, because it's flying all over the place right now, but you need to have a reference point. So coming back into the moment and that peace, and then paying attention to what comes in and causes disturbance or whatever, can be very educational.
Yes, and very centering too.
Right.
Because of our future, our manifestations in the future, they are decided in the moment, based on the alignment and the congruence that we have.
For me personally, it's been really good the last couple days. I've been spending additional time listening to sacred self-healing recordings and high vibrational music to help me stay centered and in a good space that allows the outside world to do what it needs to do and keeps me from getting involved in it too much.
And it keeps you centered. Yeah, it's a very good recommendation to focus on anything that feels energy centering, energy supporting, energy promoting, like high vibrational music, beautiful pictures, and maybe reading a nice book, um,
Nature,
eating good food, nature, and so forth. So those are all outer energies that help you to align to your inner truth, to your um, inner power. So that is what we mean with the focus on what is energy supporting. And sometimes if we don't know if something is energy supporting or draining, then just become a little more aware of it bit by bit. Make it an experiment. Say, okay, I'm choosing this right now, and I wonder how this is going to turn out energetically, how I feel in an hour or two, how I feel emotionally, how I feel physically. Does this empower me? Does this give me sort of a new boost of energy physically or mentally even? Does it inspire me? Does it give me courage? Or does it drain me? Does it make me tired? Does it make me cranky? Does it make me depressed even? Or do I feel pain? Those would all be signs that an energy is draining, that you have exposed yourself to or that you have decided, that you have chosen. And then you make a correction, like Roger said, you realign to your heart. You can use the breathing technique that we've introduced here to channel the month, to realign, to recenter your energy at any moment, any time.
and if you don't know what that is, we start out frequently by thinking of love like of a pet or a child and get that warmth in your heart. That's what a lot of people start with to bring them to that place until
Or
you can.
just a moment of excellence, like a really beautiful, really wonderful experience that you had in your past, just to sort of tune, to calibrate your energy into something that is positive, that is life promoting.
Right.
So thank you everybody for coming here today. Do you have any last minute questions? If not, tomorrow we're going to talk about, of course, current energies again. The theme tomorrow, in regards to healthy choices, is going to be, we're going to be talking a little bit about diet. So if you guys have questions about, what's a high vibrational diet, like how can I establish a sort of that physical and spiritual balance, how can I use food to influence my energy and to align myself to higher vibrational solutions, and so forth. Tomorrow is the day to ask these questions. And we are also going to talk about how to bypass the mind in general. And of course, we're going to channel the energies for February. And at the end here on the 1st of January, we're going to have a wonderful forecast for the entire year, channeled by the audience. You. Thank you,
I'd,
everybody, so
I'd
much.
also like to mention, Yona, if
Mhm.
anybody, I don't know who all the guests are, but if anybody has a difficult time getting through the holidays and you really need someone to talk to, you can email me at roger@transcodes.com. Um, I have had some experience with difficult years myself, so I understand where it can bring
Wonderful.
us sometimes.
Thank you, Roger, for mentioning this. This is ultimately why we're here. And of course, you can always speak up during the session as well.
Right.
Thank you. It's
Good
been an
night.
honor having your guys' attention. Thank you, Roger, and everybody for coming here today. And tomorrow at 8 p.m. Denver time, we're going to see us again or hear us again.
See you all then. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.